Well, you know, growing up, the son of a professional wrestler is not always the easiest thing in the world. Of course, my dad was hardly ever home. He was always on the road wrestling, always trying to do what he could to, what he said, make a living, which I understand that concept now by doing my almost 25 years of professional wrestling. I don't hold it against Dad. He, like most fathers, they do the job that they have a passion for and acquired knowledge for, and he did what I thought he thought in his own mind was the best thing to support a family. So, you know, he was wrestling on tour and being seen around the world on different wrestling territories and different wrestling promotions, while me and my sister were being raised by our mother and going to school in Oak Hill, West Virginia.
Okay, we're back here in the ring. We're all set to go with the second match in our show for today. This is one of the few times you'll see Sika all alone, under the direction of gentleman Saul Weingroff, right across the ring there. I'd like to introduce at 304 pounds from the island of Pago, Samoa, there's Sika, right there. And from Cuba at 225 pounds, the Cuban Assassin right there. With a 10-minute time limit, here we go with the match.
We've heard from Bob Hines, ladies and gentlemen. As he pointed out, Sika, one of the Islanders, is a very, very large, strong, fast wrestler. And he's managed by a very able gentleman Saul Weingroff. And I am afraid the Cuban Assassin has a busy evening cut out for him. You know, I wrestled down in Cuba many years ago before Castro, and we haven't wrestled there recently, as you probably well know, Bob.
I don't even know if they're keeping the sport active down there, because we don't know that much about Cuba anymore.
No, well, the only place that the Iron Curtain countries have any professional sports is in the Olympics, you know.
That's right. The weight advantage for Sika here is definitely there. I don't believe myself that the Cuban Assassin, at 225 pounds, being outweighed by 75, actually 79 pounds, has too great a chance.
Well, you know, Bob, when I offered the Cuban Assassin this match, he was very anxious to have the match, and he said, I will take care of them. And very aggressive and very rough wrestler. So let's see how he fares with gentleman Saul Weingroff, one of his great Islanders, Sika.
Well, the thing about it is that if he can, with speed, that 79-pound difference, if he'd keep moving, could be a great advantage for him to come in and get a hold of Sika and then try to get out of there. He's got him now.
He sure has him by the hair, doesn't he? Boy, very aggressive.
Yeah, he is.
That's sort of surprising. Ah, there's Sika.
Sika comes right back.
You bet he will. Has a lot of courage, Bob. Referee calling for the break.
Okay. Sika makes a clean break. That's fine.
That looks like Sika. They're beautiful people, Bob. These Samoans are such nice guys. Love both of them.
Look at the power in those hands.
That's where it is, man.
Oh, he's got him by the beard. Oh,
wow. That's something.
Just wants to catch his breath for a couple of minutes.
Well, I would exit too under those circumstances, I'll tell you.
The count is up to 5. And he got a little help getting back into the ring. Up and over.
Lofts him in like a paper doll. Oh.
Okay.
Well, gentleman, Saul Weingroff has really coached these people beautifully.
He congratulates his wrestler at this time. Sika, the Islander, has won it. And the winner of this, the second match of this evening, of course, Sika, the Islander. One of the few times that we see him without his brother. We're going to get gentleman Saul Weingroff and Sika over here for just a moment and talk with them.
My dad, He's only visited as far as I'm aware of. Now, he visited me and my sister this past summer in August of last year. Of course, my dad was a wrestler that was mainly known here in WOI TV4 Saturday Night Wrestling. We're here in Oak Hill, West Virginia. That was hosted by Shirley Love, who later on became a state senator in the state of West Virginia. Dad wrestled for WOI TV4 Saturday Night Wrestling until 1973. And he left last time my sister and I saw him, and it's the last time my sister Cindy ever got to see my dad, which was in 1980. He came back in August of 2013 for 1 week here in Oak Hill to see my sister, who was already 42 years old, actually 43 years old, and her son, which is 18 years old, fully grown and already graduated from high school. And but I thought it was nice that I would take my dad, because he hasn't seen Shirley Love, and Shirley Love hasn't seen Dad and all since 1973. So I took him to see Shirley Love, and they had a nice little gathering and talking of some stories from the past. It was really nice to see them two together after all these years. Well, you know, I really didn't want to be a wrestler originally. I mean, I've always been a fan of wrestling. I grew up watching wrestling from WOI Saturday Night Wrestling to when they replaced it with the Poffos ICW International Championship Wrestling, and all the way until Smoky Mountain Wrestling came on in its place too as well. And then, plus when cable hit in 1977, it gave us more accessibility to be able to watch other wrestling programming, such as the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, which was primarily then controlled by Jim Crockett Promotions and Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, because they covered this area as part of their territory. We also had Superstation WTBS. We can watch which Georgia Championship Wrestling then became World Championship Wrestling. We was able to see the USA Network and see the World Wrestling Federation and All-American Wrestling, where got to witness the birth of Hulkamania. And we had ESPN, was able to watch the AWA, the American Wrestling Association, with the AWA All-Star Championship Wrestling. So we got more, you know, technology changes things, and believe it or not, technology is what changed our industry and our profession, and which I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, I really love the older style wrestling, but I also like the new style wrestling today, and the way it's packaged and delivered to the fans. I actually think the WWE is doing a pretty good thing, and although I didn't agree with it when I was younger in my career, I was a pro NWA and pro WCW guy during that time. But as I got older and wrestled more, and realized that Vince McMahon was always right at what the wrestling industry is. It's sports entertainment. It is an entertainment business. And then I remember when my dad left WOI TV4 Saturday Night Wrestling, they fell on some other people that control the booking, and one guy named Steve Padunovac got control of the booking of Saturday Night Wrestling on WOI towards the end of its demise, which was when the TV studio burnt down in 1977. They didn't have a place to have the wrestling card, and when they used to wrestle at the Memorial Building in Fayetteville, West Virginia, that's where they had to broadcast the news live until they built up the new TV studio, which became TV Lanes. But I do remember he tried to bring in another Cuban assassin just because some guy had some afro. My dad had an afro during that time period, and of course he didn't have no beard, and of course he's not Spanish, didn't speak any word of Spanish, but he put him on as the Cuban assassin. I got to give him credit for having the guts to go out there and try to fill someone's shoes like my dad, and knowing, speaking from personal experience, knowing that going through my dad's footsteps is not an easy thing to do. It was a very, very hard thing to do, and I imagine he had to. He was green, very green as grass, and you know, he didn't do well, but I give him, you know, credit for doing the best they can to relive the Cuban, and he's as much as part of the Cuban legacy as anybody. So, I mean, not the greatest wrestler in the world, but he did what needed to be done at the time for Steve Paduna back in Saturday Night Wrestling in WOY. And, you know, so I give him credit for that. And he does deserve to be part of the Cuban Assassin legacy. No
Now
doubt.
our main event, and once again, let's go to our ring announcer, Larry Bowling.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event, a one-fall exploration of TV time. Introducing from Detroit, Michigan, weighing in at 245 pounds, Sweet Man Oscar. And his partner from Oklahoma, weighing in 230 pounds, Chief Walkenhorst. And their opponent from Havana, Cuba, weighing in at 250 pounds, the Cuban Assassin. His partner from Moundsville, West Virginia, weighing in at 235 pounds, Lord Ronnie Eastep. Along with their manager, Private Arnold. And the referee is Pete Harris.
Boy, what a team in that ring corner. Ronnie Eastep and the Cuban Assassin, along with Private Arnold, his manager, going against Sweet Man Oscar from Detroit, Michigan, and Chief Walkenhorst. Right away, the Cuban Assassin moves out on Sweet Man Oscar.
Walkenhorst.
That's Walkenhorst, I beg your pardon. They've got Walkenhorst in the corner. They're working him over. Ronnie Eastep gets him again in the corner, and the Cuban Assassin starts to work on it. Private Arnold, he gets a tug or two in there himself. Now the Cuban Assassin comes in. Ronnie Eastep goes out. You'll notice Eastep holding the hair of Chief Walkenhorst. Cuban Assassin working on it. There's a forearm. Headlock by the Cuban Assassin. There was a tag, and in comes Sweet Man Oscar. And he's now inviting the Cuban Assassin out to the center of the ring. He said, I'm not coming over to your corner. You can't blame him. Into the referee's hole. Cuban raking the eyes. There's a tag. In comes Ronnie Eastep, and whatever the Cuban Assassin had in his hand, you could see possibly he just handed it to the to Ronnie Eastep. Headlock by Ronnie Eastep. Sweet Man Oscar is in a bit of trouble. Another headlock by Eastep. Watch him. Goes closer toward the Cuban Assassin. If he gets him in that corner, here comes Private Arnold complaining to the referee. And while he's doing that, Ronnie Eastep has Sweet Man Oscar in that corner. They're going to work him over again. Here comes the Cuban Assassin in. Ronnie Eastep steps out, and he kicks him with a knee and a fist to the chin. Headlock by the Cuban and a right to the Adam's apple, and Sweet Man Oscar is hurting. Headlock by Ronnie Eastep and a fist into the face of Sweet Man Oscar. And the headlock and another left. And a body press by Ronnie Eastep. 1, 2. Couldn't hold him. He got him off barely at the count of 2. Headlock by Eastep. Into the foot goes Sweet Man Oscar. Here comes the Cuban Assassin in. Hits him with a full body press. 1, 2. And he doesn't want to pin him. He wants to punish him. And Sweet Man Oscar is getting plenty of it from the Cuban Assassin. You can see how he has him with that sort of a forced grip on the face. There was a tag. The Cuban Assassin still going after him. Hits him with a body press. 1, 2, 3. That time he pinned him. And the first fall of this main event. Goes to the team of Ronnie Estep and the Cuban Assassin over Sweetman Oscar and Chief Back to ringside in the second fall of this main event. And Private Arnold at the moment is arguing with one of the fans. And boy, if he's a private, and he is from Fort Smith, Arkansas, he is AWOL for sure. If he isn't, he should be. He's AWOL in the head, if nothing else. Now, Pete Jarrell is trying to get him out of the corner. The first fall going to Wild Ronnie Estep and the Cuban Assassin. Estep from Moundsville, West Virginia. I don't know whether you're familiar with West Virginia, but Moundsville is where they keep all the prison inmates. It's where the state prison is. Good location for Wild Ronnie Estep. Maybe he should be there now. Cautiously, Chief Walking Horse moves out into the finger lock, and he gets the advantage on the Cuban Assassin. And a takedown. Working on that arm, has an arm twist on the Cuban Assassin. I just figured out where this Private Arnold came from. He may be one of those refugees. Or private valet of the Cuban Assassin. One of the mean ones. There's a takedown by the Cuban, but he's on the wrong side of the ring in the tag. And Sweetman Oscar right away, Estep moves in, and he has Sweetman Oscar on the canvas. The referee made him break momentarily. Estep, is he biting? Sure enough, he has a bad habit of that. Referee Pete Jarrell, count of 2 on Sweetman Oscar. And a forearm, but he missed it. There's a tag, and he hit his own man. And Ronnie Estep, getting a little perturbed there at the Cuban Assassin, said, "Hey, buddy, we're on the same side. You're my partner, remember?" Estep's still a little bit mad at his own partner. Up behind him comes Chief Walking Horse and slams him with sort of a forearm. And he grabs the Private Arnold, flips him into the ring. And the little private now, he heads for the corner. And over it fell over the ropes and out of the ring on the other side. And the fans, they like that one. And he's mad. He's out there arguing. Oh, one of those fans said, "Come on, Private. I got you outranked. I'm a corporal. I'll take you on up here in the stands." And did somebody hit him? Something happened. Anyway, he hit the hardwood floor. Cuban Assassin with that elbow to the back of Chief Walking Horse. And a headlock by Estep now. And a little short left into the face. Kicks him in the rib. Another kick into the rib cage. And down on him with the elbow comes the Cuban Assassin. They're both in there working on it. And in comes Sweetman Oscar to give a little help. Cuban Assassin with the advantage right now on Chief Walking Horse. Has maybe a half Nelson. But Chief Walking Horse flips him over. Ronnie Estep still in the ring, and the referee trying to round them out to their respective corners. Here comes Sweetman Oscar in to give some help, and the Private Arnold grabs and rakes the eyes of Sweetman Oscar. Boy, they're going at it from all ends. There's a takedown by Chief Walking Horse and a body press. Chief Walking Horse. We're fired up now. The Cuban Assassin whipped into the corner, into that turnbuckle, and down he goes. Horse whips him into the turnbuckle again. An arm whip off the ropes. Cuban Assassin. Backdrop, and he flips him over on a tag, and in comes Sweet Man Oscar. Headlock by Sweet Man Oscar. Hip roll. One, a count of 2. 2, 3. Did he get him? He did get him. And Pete Jarrell counted him out. Pete Jarrell counting out the Cuban Assassin. And this match is all evened up at 1 fall apiece. Look at that. Chief Walking Horse grabbing Ronnie Estep by the hair of the head and pulling him into the ring. And there you can see Pete Jarrell, the referee, holding the hands of Sweet Man Oscar and Chief Walking Horse high in the air, signifying this match is all evened up at 1 fall apiece. We'll be back with the third and deciding fall right after these matches. All evened up, 1 fall apiece, the third and deciding fall. Sweet Man Oscar and his teammate Chief Walking Horse going against the Cuban Assassin and Wild Ronnie Estep. Sweet Man Oscar coming out, and the Cuban Assassin backed off. He goes over and tags Ronnie Estep, and Estep reaching the side of his trunks, and he has something in his left hand. There he passes it to the Cuban Assassin. The Cuban Assassin puts it in his mouth, whatever it was. Remember, fans, any comments you have concerning American International Wrestling or matches you'd like to see, feel free to write. American International Wrestling, Box 534, Flatwoods, Kentucky, zip code 41139. Appreciate hearing from you. Ronnie Estep, a little reluctant to come out for some reason. That reason seems to be that he wants to shy away from the referee long enough to lure Sweet Man Oscar in a position to where he can use whatever that piece of material. Uh-oh, he's getting into it with Pete Jarrell there a little bit now.
Sure, I believe Pete's getting a little fed up there.
I think you're right, Larry Bowling, the promoter, sitting here beside me. There's a step over toe hold by Sweet Man Oscar. And is he applying the leverage? Has a reverse toe hold. And Ronnie Estep on the canvas. He's going to turn that into an Indian leg lock. Reverse toe hold at the moment. There's the leg lock. And Ronnie Estep moaning and groaning. Private Arnold coming up on that outside apron. You can't see it on the screen, but he has something on his mind. And also something in his pants pocket that looked like, to me, a hammer.
Surely, I think it'd be a good thing while we're here when we get the police to check out Private Arnold. I believe he might be AWOL from Fort Chaffee.
Oh, I think he's AWOL too. That's for sure, Larry. Still with the leg lock at the moment is Wild Ronnie Estep. Here comes the Cuban Assassin in. Well, no doubt about it, Sweet Man Oscar and Chief Walking Horse have taken plenty of punishment from these two characters, the Cuban Assassin, Wild Ronnie Estep. The Cuban now takes the place of Estep, and he's working on the leg of Sweet Man Oscar. Kind of anxious to see when Sweet Man Oscar does get out of that predicament, how he's going to walk to his corner. There's another switch as the referee got distracted by Private Arnold, and he stepped back in. Now there was a tag. In comes Chief Walking Horse. He is going to work on E-step. Drops with an elbow. Step over toe hold. And you could hear Ronnie E-step yelling out. Referee asking him if he'd like to just call it quits. Give him the match. Cuban Assassin gets him off, though, and gives Ronnie E-step the advantage. Look at that. Ronnie E-step biting the toe of Chief Walking Horse. The referee says, "You bite here, boy?" He says, "No, no, why, no way." Bet he's lying through his teeth. Bites him again on the toe. He must like shoe leather. Chief Walking Horse catching it from both sides. At the moment, the Cuban Assassin stomping on that lame leg of Chief Walking Horse. Now they're both being culprits. Outside the ring, Ronnie E-step. Inside the ring, the Cuban Assassin. And they have got Private Arnold over there now. The sweet man Oscar, he's not so sweet. Look at him, he's got Private Arnold and slams him to the canvas with a body slam. Elbow to the back of the head of the Private. And I'll tell you what, he's headed back for boot camp, buddy. He don't want any more of that. Well, the sweet man, he caught a break there to get Private Arnold, and he worked him over. But at the moment, wild man Ronnie E-step going at it. Still working on the leg of Chief Walking Horse. The referee, sweet man Oscar, is trying to tell the referee, "Look, ref, they mistreated my partner over there. They did everything illegal that they could do, and why don't you break it up?" He goes over, starts a count. Momentarily, the Cuban Assassin breaks, but not for long. There's a tag. In comes Ronnie E-step again. Cuban Assassin steps out. E-step, same hold. Applying some fresh pressure. You can possibly hear in the background, hollowing very loudly, Chief Walking Horse. He'd like to walk out of there to that corner to get a tag from sweet man Oscar. He did get a tag, and in he comes. Ronnie E-step pulls Chief Walking Horse back in the ring, and right away the Cuban Assassin pounding that elbow into the back of the head of sweet man Oscar. The other side of the ring, Ronnie E-step. Okay, Ronnie E-step. Well, there's the bell, and time has elapsed. Time has elapsed, and I don't think we're going to have a winner unless the referee, is he going to give the match to... He's going to disqualify, or what has happened? Time elapsed. So the referee is going to call it a draw. Nobody wins, nobody loses. One fall apiece.
I graduated from Oak Hill High School on June 2nd of 1989 on a vocational course. I took 2 years of industrial electronics at the Fat Plateau Vocational Technical Center here in Oak Hill, West Virginia.
I would now like to class of 1989 as they receive their diplomas. Rachel Ann Lagas. Jennifer Jean Connor. Richie Lee Acevedo. Michael Shane Alexander. David Arthur Allen. James Keith Bailey. Congratulations to you. The graduating class at Oak Hill High School of 1989.
Believe it or not, we do have a technical college schooling here, and I thought I was going to go into the field of electronics, and then I realized that while I was taking electronics, that you constantly have to go through schooling for electronics to be an engineer, due to the primary fact that technology changes every 5 to 10 years, and you have to be updated with the technology and the proper training, which is, you know, a smart thing to do. But I didn't want to be constantly going to school all my life. And after I graduated, 2 weeks later, my dad and a guy named Frenchie Martin flew me up to Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I would be there to be with my dad. And my dad just didn't believe in free living, and he just went ahead and trained me. And I'll admit I was kind of excited, and I kind of walked into it. I had sent some photographs to my dad, and I was in bodybuilding then in high school. And I sent some pictures to my dad, and he showed them to the promoter, Emile Dupree, which had Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling there in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. And he liked it. He was impressed with the pictures. But I was only 188 pounds when I came up to Canada. I was lean and young, but the pictures always made me look a little bit bigger, and the definition of the muscle kind of made me look bigger. But when I got there, they saw I was really a small individual. Kind of disappointed my dad and the promoter, Emile. But nonetheless, they went ahead and trained me, put me under the hood, known as the Super B. I'll tell you, the training was, my dad didn't, take it easy on me. He treated me like everybody else. I was no different from anybody else when he trained me, but I didn't get no special privileges, as people may think that I have gotten, but that's not true at all. But, I didn't really want to be a wrestler. I was in the locker room, and Emile came in, and he introduced himself to me. He said, "Hi, I'm Emile Dupree." And I shook his hand, and I said, "Hi, I'm Richie Acevedo." And he said, "Oh, great, when can you start?" And I thought he was joking, so I figure I'd take the joke, next step. And I said, "Oh, whenever." And he says, "Okay, you can start tomorrow." And then he walked out, the whole locker room laughed. I didn't realize he was really being serious. And then my dad said, "No, Richie, when he says work," because I didn't understand the terminology of wrestling then. When he said, "Richie, when he says work, he means working in the ring as a wrestler." I thought he was joking personally, and I thought if he was going to have me work, it would be setting up the ring, taking down the ring, which I did do. Don't get me wrong, everybody has to pay their dues, but he really meant for me to be a worker in the ring is what he meant. And well, that's what happened. And so I had to start my training and became the Super B and started wrestling. Later on, as I left Canada, I wanted to pursue a different type of character. I really didn't want to do wrestling. I tried to do other jobs and stuff like that, and do that on the side. And what happened was, actually got kind of booked on a show for Blazing Bobby Blaze, which at the time he wrestled for Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and he had his own promotion called CPW, Championship Professional Wrestling. and he decided to give me a chance since he was on tour with that. was having a hard time getting in to do some shows and stuff. I wanted to be Richie, the Ace, Richie Acevedo, kind of a modified version of Nature Boy Ric Flair, mixed with a little bit of Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George is one wrestler I always heard about and seen some footage of him and thought that he was one of the greatest heels of all time and probably one of the top greats of our industry, because he was the first real television superstar and the first character on television when it came out in the 1940s. When television came out and hit in 1942, and he was the first real television and the third mega superstar in our wrestling heritage. But they didn't want that. They knew my dad, and they saw I had my dad's image. I looked just like him. They wanted another Cuban assassin, and I didn't want to be the Cuban assassin. I wanted to be the Cuban Commando. I gave the name the Cuban Commando. Excuse me. I adopted the name Cuban Commando after my dad and his tag team partner Jerry Morrow. They were the Cuban Commandos. I wanted to be the Ace, Richie Acevedo, but I had to settle for being the Cuban Commando. And instead of having the full hair and the beard, I was clean shaven and short hair. But Bobby Blaze gave me a chance, and on his show, and he ran in Ashland, Kentucky, and of course I got to wrestle him in Oak Hill, my hometown of Oak Hill, West Virginia, at the Oak Hill Army National Guard building, and it kind of started me back off into my professional career, and that's where it kind of got kick-started from right there. You know, one of the matches I recently had done was back in 2012, and it was with a young boy by the name of Johnny Heartbreak for WVCW, West Virginia Championship Wrestling, and at the Princeton Rec Center in Princeton, West Virginia. I didn't understand. I saw this kid, and he was over like $1 million. He's not real big, and he may have an ego, and he may, you know, have an attitude. But the people who are successful in this industry are those people who have certain type of egos and who have the attitude. Because you've got to have the attitude to be hungry to be able to be successful in this industry. You've got to have that. If you don't have it, you know, there's no point of really trying. You've got to really have an attitude to really go out there and be somebody. I mean, when I met Dave Bautista, he knew exactly where he was going. When I met Rene Dupree, he knew exactly where he was going. Everybody that I met, including CM Punk, when I met him for IWA, he knew exactly where he was going. They all knew. They had that attitude. They had that hunger, and so you've got to have that. But this kid, I had a good match with him. I was really kind of proud of it. One of the few matches I got to have with him, but this one particular match stuck out, and I thought it was a great match we had there at the Princeton Rec Center in Princeton, West Virginia for WVCW, West Virginia Championship Wrestling. It was a pretty cool time, and I enjoyed that match.
Hello again, fans, and welcome. West Virginia Championship Wrestling is once again on your television, and I am standing here with the junior heavyweight champion, the Cuban Assassin. A Cuban Assassin, you have a big match coming up.
That's right. I had a big match coming up due to the outcome just a couple weeks ago in a six-man tag. But I want everybody to know that me and Michael got everything worked out. He understands his mistake that he made. He understood that it was his fault that I lost that match, and we got it all worked out.
Well, there you hear it. Let's go up to the ring. Big junior heavyweight title match coming up right now. John Heartbreak did it. Surprisingly enough, let's not forget that it was just a couple weeks ago in the Cuban corner. Cuban smacked John Heartbreak right across the face before defeating Hercules Cortez for that junior heavyweight title.
You know, the revolution is up and coming, and I like the revolution. Just like the original American Revolution when Cuba invaded America. I mean, it was phenomenal, just like this match is going to be.
Fans, I have to apologize for my tag team partner, Daniel Halen. He does not realize this is a wrestling show and not a history documentary.
As we see a big scoop slam there by the Cuban Assassin,
nice.
Slams John Heartbreak onto the mat.
You know, Heartbreak's quick and he's fast and he's agile, but Cuban has the, you know, he's a vet. He has the technical standpoint on this match. So, I mean, it's anybody's ball game.
Yeah, and Cuban Assassin had Stephen Michaels out there at ringside as well. Stephen Michaels, of course, is the man that beat John Heartbreak at one time for the WVCW Junior Heavyweight title.
I remember that, Eric Foster.
You know, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was the first junior champion, and to have John Heartbreak sort of, make that title prestigious in some sense, to make it valuable, you got to give him respect for that. And this is the second shot at it.
I made reference to it last week, but the first time that John Heartbreak won the WVCW title, it was under the mask of the Russian Invader.
A little showboating by Heartbreak now. Showboating is not going to win you the WVCW Junior Heavyweight Championship, folks.
And neither will Cake.
And then it was the Russian
Apparently
Invader that helped him win last week as well.
This Invader character, he's something else, right?
Yeah.
Unlike the tag team match, with this match, Stephen Michaels isn't going to leave ringside. He's going to stay there with Cuban through the whole thing. I think the Revolution's close. You got Sasaki, you got Stephen Michaels, and you got Cuban, all popular and talented in respective ways.
And fans, I got some big news while this match is going on. Next week, right here on our television program, we will start airing the end-of-year awards that you voted for. Those will start airing next week, so make sure you tune in and see who won the awards that you voted for. It will air for the next 3 weeks, so we'll be showing you results for a bunch of different categories, special matches, and everything else. Who will win Wrestler of the Year, who will win Referee of the Year, Most Shocking Moment, Event of the Year, and everything else. But right now, we got a big match here as Cuban Assassin just throws John Heartbreak into the turnbuckle.
Face meets turnbuckle. How are you doing?
You forgot Tag Team of the Year, Foster.
Vote for us, please.
Well, there you get your last second vote in.
Nice back
the
elbow by
voting polls,
Cuban.
guys, they can't vote for you. The voting polls are closed.
Oh. Well, I hope you guys already voted for us, because that would be a very prestigious award to have.
And fans, don't forget that our next television taping is on January 12th here at the Princeton Rec Center in Princeton, West Virginia. That is only 3 days away. So make sure you come out to the Princeton Rec Center and enjoy some great West Virginia Championship Wrestling action. Big kick there by John Heartbreak and a couple big right hands to the top of the head of the Cuban Assassin, knocking the Cuban Assassin back into the turnbuckle. What's going to happen next? Daniel Halen.
I'll tell you what's going to happen next. He's going to whip him into the other corner. Then he's going to, he hits the splash. That's what happens next.
Kurt Taylor.
I suppose they're going to wrestle.
Yeah, and we're going to go with the cover. 1, 2 count there by John Heartbreak. John Heartbreak was 1 second away from capturing the WVCW Junior Heavyweight Championship again.
You should be an auctioneer, Foster.
Should I?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, fans, back to the action. That's twice, Foster. That's twice.
And now Cuban Assassin telling the referee to shut his singing mouth as he just drapes John Heartbreak over the top rope there. As the crowd starts chanting USA. Is this crowd now behind John Heartbreak?
It appears so, and John Heartbreak wearing the wounds of this match already.
I'm really confused right now.
Picking him up by the hair here. What's Cuban Assassin going to do next? Big scoop slam there by the Cuban Assassin. Now he's going, is he going up top?
This does not look good.
Oh, man, it looks like, what's he going for here?
As he says, this is it. He's going up. What's he going to do? Oh, and misses the elbow majorly there. John Heartbreak rolling out of the way.
You know, I'm not new to jumping off the top rope, and if you miss, you definitely feel it.
John Heartbreak with a couple big right hands right there onto the top of the head of Cuban Assassin.
I believe this has gone farther than a match. I believe there is definitely a blood war in here now.
Oh, a nice
Beautiful
drop kick, heel kick. That's what it's called?
Yes, yes it is.
I like cows. Looks like Heartbreak's crawling to the corner here, possibly going up top, it looks like. Maybe for that patented moonsault that he has.
What's John Heartbreak going to do next? Looks like could he be going up to the top rope?
I think he's going for that moonsault, Foster.
He could be. Could this be the moonsault by John Heartbreak? There it is! Oh! And he hits the man.
It barely connects, but connects.
Could this be it? 1, 2, no, 2 count. 2 count by referee Randy Hicks.
I really thought he had it there.
Heartbreak obviously hasn't wore him down enough. Cuban starting to get pumped up now.
Blocks the punch, hits one with his own, blocks another one, and another right hand straight to the top of the head of the Cuban Assassin. Pushes the Cuban Assassin back against the ropes. What's going to happen now? He
Hartbreak
shoots
got
him
the better
off.
of that trade-off
Goes
there.
for a big back body drop. The Cuban Assassin grabs him by the hair and throws him down.
Is that legal?
No, that's not legal.
Well.
Referee Randy Hicks all over the man. Back into a rear chin lock here. This is the Cuban Assassin.
The Cuban Assassin's definitely wearing down Heartbreak.
Is Heartbreak really trying to get the support from the fans?
It looks like it's working,
That's
Daniel.
something I haven't seen from him in a very long time.
You know, you'll do anything to win. I mean, we've seen that
And
from...
it's working. Surprisingly,
it
it's
really
working.
is.
I don't like this.
It's
I mean,
whatever
everybody's
you
cheering for John Heartbreak.
John Heartbreak coming off the ropes for a
Nice
sunset flip, it looks
sunset
like.
flip.
Big sunset
Is this
flip does
it?
one.
Oh, and a kick to the head.
That was a 2 count there by referee Randy Hicks. That's a
Close.
close line.
Oh,
Big super kick
The
there
murder
by
shot
John
super
Heartbreak.
kick.
Both men are down. Who's going to be the first man up to his feet? Will it be John Heartbreak? Will it be the champion? Who's it going to be?
Here we go for the pin.
Heartbreak's got cover.
1, 2, no!
count.
2 count
I
by
thought that
John
was over as
Heartbreak
well.
under the Cuban Assassin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is becoming an instant classic.
What does Moonsault
He
taste
shoots
like?
him off here. Reversal by John Heartbreak. Cuban Assassin in the turnbuckle. John Heartbreak now going up.
The 10 punch.
This isn't a very smart move to do the Cuban Assassin. He may have him worn down a little bit, but not as much as he wants.
Oh, and bad mouthing with the ref. The fans getting behind Heartbreak one more time.
He shoots him off
Oh,
once
what
again.
is this?
Cuban
Oh.
Assassin seeing it coming, goes for the big
No.
DDT. Now he goes for the cover. 1. What's Steven Michaels
up on the
doing?
apron.
What is this?
Well, these are definitely some unusual
Steven
tactics.
Michaels up on the
But
up
he
on the
seems to
apron.
like it.
Cuban Assassin and him going straight at it.
Okay, I take that back. He's not going to stick with his partner, it looks like.
Oh! John
Nice
Heartbreak rolls him up.
Oklahoma
Could
roll.
this be it? 1, 2, 3.
Oh! And
Man, there we
did
go.
it.
We have a
Twice.
new WBCW Junior Heavyweight Champion.